Welcome to the Mrs. Are Relevant Daily Draft Podcast. It's our late Tuesday show. Drew, Chris, it's good to see you guys. Chris, what stands out to you from last weekend in college football?
I think the biggest thing we saw was several quarterbacks are starting to take a step up, whether it's Barons Morton, whether it was Taylon Green. You know, we're starting to see guys who we didn't think were going to be high draft round picks, and all. Francisco Mendoza is another guy, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute here. It's not the guys we thought were going to be top, 5 picks or top 10 picks for quarterback. It's this new class, which all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute here. They're showing more almost NFL skills than the other guys.
And Drew, how about you? What's sticking out from last weekend in college football for you?
I was going to go with the unpredictability. I mean, you've got teams like Clemson, even South Carolina now, depending on Lenore Siller's health, that's fluctuating so much. And as Chris was just saying, the quarterback class, no one would have predicted that we'd be discussing Taylon Green, Aidan Chiles, all of them as some of the, even maybe some would be Fernando Mendoza, but them as the top quarterbacks in the class right now, I don't think you would have predicted that going into the season. So it's been interesting how things have shaken out.
Yeah, and I think the message should be also that the advantage of summer scouting is to create the player list. That, to me, that's the distinct advantage of summer scouting is create the player list. The rankings, though, are going to fluctuate, and from a scouting process, scouts don't update their board every week. Right? They wait till the season finishes, and then they build their board, and they finish their grades at the end of the season. So everything we're doing on the podcast where we're talking about this player had a good game, this player had a good game, or this player is falling, I want to say just take that all with a grain of salt. We should definitely focus on players that are playing well, and we have several of them in the game that we're about to cover, and be patient because quarterback one isn't going to be known until November at the earliest. We have to get every game played, and that doesn't happen until Thanksgiving weekend is usually when games finish. So we're keeping tabs on it, but don't try to plant a flag before the ground settles. But we've got Michigan State and USC playing each other this week. It's a Big Ten game, so it's a conference game. And I would say this game is like the tale of 2 draft days. We've got some day 1 players without a lot of day 3 players here. Right? And then maybe some of these guys fall to day 2. But Drew, who is your highest graded player in the USC-Michigan game? Excuse me, USC-Michigan State game.
Right now for me, it's Makiai Lemon, the wide receiver from USC. He's not the biggest receiver, I believe around 5'11", 190. But this kid is twitchy. He's a great route runner. He's really fast. He can create separation just like that with just one cut, and it's tough to guard him. This year, he's had good production so far, 16 receptions, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. And according to PFF, he's got 4.94 yards per route run, which is exceptional. So I'm not expecting him to keep up that type of production, but he's going to hear his name called in round 1, I think. And I really like him as a player.
Chris, how high are you in Makiai Lemon?
I love him. I mean, he is your typical big play wide receiver. He's quick off the line, excellent route runner, gets separation. He's smart. He understands, how to get zone coverage, how to get in the right spots, the hand-eye coordination. You've seen him make catches where it's like your jaw drops. He can play special teams, which I think is big now for a lot of wide receivers because it allows rookies to sort of jump right in. I mean, are there concerns? Yeah, there are. I mean, he's a smaller wide receiver. He's 5'11", 190 pounds. You do worry where you feel get bullied by bigger corners or physical corners, but still, it's just the speed is there, the hands are there, the understanding of getting open is there, and just that That this is a guy who you can maybe say is wide receiver 1 through 3.
Okay, so I have a question. So you guys said 5'11", 190 for Lemon?
Yes.
Okay. On average, 31 wide receivers get drafted every year. My question to you is, let's assume that this year is average. How many of the 31 receivers will be smaller this year than 5'11", 190?
It's going to be a lot. And look, that's where it seems like it seems like this year, the last couple of years, that's where the position is going. It's a smaller, dynamic. Hey, we're doing more just route running, more just getting open, and less of the big, tall, just throw it up there and let them catch it.
Yeah. Drew, how about you? If you think of Makiai Lemon, 5'11", 190, which by NFL standards is less than 50th percentile, I think. How many receivers in this draft class, like out of the 31 that get drafted on average, how many of them do you think will either be shorter than Lemon or lighter than Lemon or both?
I mean, as Chris said, this is the year where you're going to get your gadget, route running, quick receiver. Off the top of the mind, there's the Jordan Tysons, Denzel Bostons, JaKobi Lane, who we'll talk about soon, maybe a Nick Harbor, who are those big body threats. But outside of them, you've got more Deion Burks, people like that who are just quick. They'll win with their route running. They're twitchy. That's what you're going to really – that's where kind of the cream of the crop is in this draft class for receivers right now.
Yeah, and I remember the Jordan Addison draft class, right? Because Jordan Addison, JSN, Quentin Johnson, who is the other round one wide receiver that year? I'm missing one.
Zay
right?
Flowers?
Thank you, Zay Flowers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Right, so that year, 3 of those 4 players were actually smaller than Lemon, right? JSN is smaller than Lemon. Addison is, and Flowers definitely is, right? I'm tracking this right? Where just because he's undersized doesn't mean he's not going round 1. The NFL has a history of taking more than one of these smallish type receivers in round 1 if they are the right fit. It's just if your team needs that big bodied X, Lemon may not be the guy. But if your team just needs a receiver, if they need a playmaker at the position, Lemon may be your guy. Is that a fair way to say that, Chris?
It is. You're looking at around the league, and you're looking at a lot of these offenses, and whether it's the Chiefs, whether it's the Lions, whether it's even the Chargers, I'll even throw, to an extent, the Texans. It's no longer, we're just gonna, go down, we'll throw it up there. It's crossing routes. It's wheel routes. It's you're trying to get mismatches on. Hey, let's get one of our wide receivers on a linebacker or a safety, and then all of a sudden it's a lot of just cross routes, zone reads. So you don't need to be the 6'2", 6'3". I mean, Jamar Chase is only 6 feet tall. Amon Ross St. Brown is only 6 feet. You have Xavier Worthy, 5'11", but yet they play bigger than their size. They understand how to not just get crushed. And because they have that speed, because they can, make things happen and get yards after the catch, they are worth their weight in gold. And teams are now going, all right, well, let's take a chance on a guy maybe who's not 6'2", 200 plus pounds, and just, we can make those, contested catches or, jump balls.
Yeah. So Makiai Lemon, Drew, you said he is your highest graded player in the game, and you said first round grade, right?
For me, yes.
And Chris, do you think Makiai Lemon is a first round grade for you right now?
Yes, I think he could go as high as top 10, top 15. I mean, he is that good.
Okay. So Chris, is Lemon your highest graded player in this game, or is there a player higher for you?
He's my highest player, but a guy who I could see might be just as high on some boards is his running mate, JaKobi Lane. He is your, let's call it your father's wide receiver, 6'4", 215 pounds. I know he's the red zone threat. You look at his hands, and it's just. I was watching some of those catches he made in the Purdue game, and it's just over the top shoulder. He's just catching it a plumb. He's never breaking, stopping there. He catches with his hands, not with his body. He has good quickness off the line. He's a better blocker, and you can see on the sideline, he's the personality of the two. He's the one who the team looks at as a leader because he's just energetic. He's competitive. He was a more physical wide receiver.
And Drew, what do you have in JaKobi Lane, the wide receiver from USC?
Yeah, you said Makiai Lemon wasn't your X receiver. Well, JaKobi Lane is. He's going to be a great X receiver for someone. As Chris was saying, he's physical. He's reliable. He's got good burst off the line of scrimmage. He's a pretty good route runner for his size. It's kind of everything you'd want in that running mate, big X receiver. I really like him as a player. He's got a really good kind of character, as you were saying on the sideline. I really like what I'm seeing from JaKobi Lane.
So if we think back to the draft that Xavier Worthy and Keon Coleman were in, I'm going to say that was 2 years ago, right? Because that was the 2024 draft. Even though we're in 2025 right now, it was 2 drafts ago, right?
Yes.
So would you look at like if I said, well, Ladd McConkey, Makiai Lemon, and then JaKobi Lane, Keon Coleman, are we? And I know that they don't play the same, but there's a body style, and those players were drafted within a couple spots of each other, right? Because I think Coleman went 33, and I think McConkey only dropped 1 or 2 more spots before the Chargers picked it.
34.
Is Lane and Lemon graded that closely for both of you right now?
To me, yes, because it depends on what the quarterback likes. So I'll go back even far. I'll even go back farther up in that draft. It was a great debate between Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison Jr. And there were people, talking about, hey, Malik Neighbors. He's probably that better wide receiver in terms of explosive plays, home run threat. But people would go, well, look at Marvin Harrison. He's a generational. Look at that size. And same with Rome Odunze. They go, oh my God, look at that guy. 6'3", 214. Oh man, he's gonna get those balls. So it depends on what the quarterback likes. Some guy, as I said, Josh Allen likes taller wide receivers who he can throw those jump balls up to, and they will come down with it. You look at a guy like Mahomes. He loves to just create on the fly, roll out, hit crossers, hit guys deep who have speed. And again, whoever I think is drafting, it's sort of like, well, do we need an X, sort of slot guy, or do we want the big down the field possession, powerful wide receiver? It's pick your poison.
Drew, what do you think? Like, how close are Lane and Lemon graded for you?
I mean, I really like them both. Personally, I have Lemon a little bit higher, probably a couple spots, but I mean, it'll all fluctuate going on the year and really depending on what the team needs. They're pretty interchangeable. Both super talented, will be a very good option in the NFL.
Okay. So one of the other things that I like to point out too is that the bigger wide receivers, in my opinion, age better. So for example, like if I have to look at like Xavier Worthy and Keon Coleman, I think Xavier Worthy earlier in his career looked better because Xavier Worthy had the twitchiness, the athletic ability. But when a receiver starts hitting like 28, 29 years old, the big receiver is still going to be big, but the fast receiver may not be fast anymore. So when you get like to the point of like a JaKobi Lane, I think there's going to be some GMs that are going to say, if they want a receiver where they can give them that second contract, they may want the bigger receiver just because they're more likely to play to the end of the second contract. That's a Jim theory. I don't know how many GMs I've heard say that, but that's something I've noticed watching the NFL is that like a player like Tyreek Hill, he's not aging well, right? Like Tyreek Hill's like last good season was actually 2 years ago, right? He didn't do much last year. He's not doing much this year either. So
that's in fairness, though. How many wide receivers have 10 children with 8 different women? In trouble with the law. I mean, but I mean, think of it. You look at Tyreek, and when he was in his peak, I mean, he's what? And this is almost now his 8th year, and every year he's putting up at least over 800 yards. Every year, he's putting up 1,500 to 1,700 yards. Again, it depends on the coach. Like, Andy Reid's going to look at a JaKobi Lane and go, "That's my guy. He gets open. He's fast. Screw this possession. I don't want to have to throw too high. And next thing you know, we're missing. I want a fast guy who I can stretch the field, and that's my jam." And then you look at a Joe Brady. He's going to look and go, "Well, Josh Allen has a big arm. He's going to throw high. I want a taller wide receiver who can muscle." It is what it is. It's just, I think, depending on the scheme and depending what the coaches now are looking at. Some are going to look at you, Jim, and you're going to go, "Yep, you're right. It's bigger wide receivers. They'll last longer." And others are going to go, "Hey, look at all the Deebo Samuels, the Tyreek Hill, Xavier Worthies. As long as they don't become a head case, damn, they're going to be good."
So, Drew, where does JaKobi Lane rank for you, like relative to maybe some of the other, let's say, ex-receivers like Chris Bell from Louisville is one that immediately comes to mind. Is there a drop from Lane to Bell for you, or are we still in the same tier of player?
Mm-hmm. I'd say Lane and Bell are in the relatively same tier. I haven't gotten as many eyes on Bell as I want. I've seen him a little bit, but right now I'd say they're pretty similar. I have the Denzel Boston in the tier above. I'm a big fan of his. I think that Lane's in kind of that second tier, but I mean, I do really like them. And that'll all fluctuate, as we said early in the podcast. But right now I have Lane in that right receiver too.
Do you have
Boston
and Lemon in the same tier?
I have Boston above Lemon. I have Boston as my, right now, tentatively wide receiver 2. I'm super high on what he does. Him and Jordan Tyson I have in my top tier.
Got it. Okay. And Chris, how about you? Where is like Chris Bell, David Boston relative to Lane on your preliminary board?
I'd have them both. Bell and Lemon are probably the same. I give the edge to just slightly to Lemon, just because you look at what Louisville has for a quarterback, and then you look at what USC is rolling out for a quarterback. And look, Louisville went out. They hit the transfer portal. They got Miller Moss, and he is a bona fide, proven top-tier quarterback for college. Meanwhile, USC, they're starting Jaden Maivia, who, when you look him at tape, he's raw, and sometimes he'll still run. So, again, I think for Bell, it helps that he's with a quarterback who's a lot more drop-back friendly, where with Lemon and even Lane, it's still a guy that they're looking at going, well, he's going to take off, and he might run. So, again, I agree with Drew. Boston's head and shoulders above, but I'd say that next tier is Lane and Lemon.
Got it. So, again, we're covering the USC-Michigan State game. We just covered the 2 USC wide receivers. There is a third player in this game that could sneak into round 1 if he chooses to declare, and that is quarterback Aidan Chiles. And Drew, when we were backstage, you had some interesting and good things to say, but do you want to share your thoughts on Aidan Chiles and even draft professors bringing him more to your attention, specifically Bill Sparks.
Yeah, shout out Bill. He's the kind of, but I hadn't gotten any eyes on him before. I've just seen what other people said, so I was going into it with pretty high hopes. And I'd say he most of the time delivered. I'm a pretty big Chiles believer now. He's got really good pocket presence, I found. He's got mobility to scramble, but he's also got a really good arm that he can make the opposite hash, puts a good velocity on the passes. He can throw on the run. Sometimes the accuracy's off on that, but he's a very smooth player, very smooth thrower. He does need to improve his accuracy. I mean, at times that's with a lot of quarterbacks, but he has a tendency to sail or overthrow one of their his receivers. And then ball security, I want to see a little bit more. Against Western Michigan, I believe it was, he had 2 fumbles, 6 last year. You kind of want to see that improve, but I mean, he's off to a good start to the year. His tape against Boston College was very impressive. He willed that team to a win. So I'm a believer in Aidan Chiles right now. We'll see if he comes out. I'm not fully certain on that yet. I feel like a lot of those decisions are going to come down to the wire. It's going to be the domino effect. One quarterback's either going to declare or not going to declare, and that's going to spark a chain reaction on people deciding whether they're better off to stay and just declare next year, but what also could be a loaded quarterback class, or kind of go out here. But I feel like Chiles can have a big decision ahead of him because I do think he will garnish some of the round 1 hype.
Chris, how about you? Where are you in Aidan Chiles?
Shout out to Bill Sparks also. I became a fan of Aidan Chiles in the Boston College game for different reasons. Previous year, I saw him against BC, and he was god-awful. I mean, he was 17 to 35, 3 interceptions. I mean, he cost them that game, and you would look and go, oh, my God, you're making bad decisions. You're throwing it into double coverage. I mean, I just looked at him and went, God, this guy just is kind of an idiot. And then you fast forward to this game, and it's night and day. During that game, he picked them apart. BC sent blitzes. They threw everything at him, and nothing else worked for Michigan State that game. And he was able to calmly, unlike the previous game, the previous year against BC, he was 19 for 29, 231 yards, 4 touchdowns. Ran for 1, and you saw the progression of like, all right, he's no longer skittish. He's no longer, making bad mistakes. He's improved, which I like. Every year it's like, oh wait, you did this. Can you improve a previous year? To me, he's one of those guys you start looking at going, all right, he's maybe around 3-4, but he's really climbing up, and this is going to be a big week because Boston College you thought was going to be a good win, but now you saw them lose to Stanford. USC is 3-0. They bring pressure. They have some pretty good secondary players who they will gamble and they will take risks. So this is going to be – we're going to see with Chiles, like, all right, can you do this against a better quality team and not like a mid-level lower team?
Yeah, so I think from – an Aidan Chiles perspective, like, and if we look at the quarterback class as a whole, one of the things that I would say changed last weekend was the injury to Lenoris Sellers. I think the Lenoris Sellers injury means he almost cannot declare because he's basically would be coming in off of 2 injury-prone seasons at South Carolina, and that's not the label that you want. Right, I think coming into a draft as a quarterback. So I'm banking on Manning and Sellers both going back to school. I don't gamble, but that's where my money would be. So to me, that would imply that Chiles really would be facing at the end of the season. He's got like there's 3 ways he could go. He could stay at Michigan State for another year. He could transfer to a school that has a better offense. Specifically, like, we're not really talking about Michigan State going to the playoffs, are we?
I mean, you want to say no, but who thought they were going to start off as good and come back against Boston College? I mean, this has been such a weird season already. I mean, who thought Alabama was going to be this bad? Who thought Kansas State would be done after 3 weeks? I mean, I've given up now trying to figure out this this year
Right.
because every time I think I have an answer, it's like, oh, all right, no,
Right. But the point being, like, Michigan State's not competing against Alabama to go to the playoffs, right? Michigan State would have to get by Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. Illinois is looking really good this year as well. But the reason I point this out is that Aidan Chiles, like, if he takes Michigan State to the playoffs, I could see him returning to Michigan State. But if Michigan State is not a playoff team, I don't know what's in it for him to stay at Michigan State. But his choices would be stay at Michigan State, transfer, or declare. Drew, do you want to weigh in on like 3 different roads there?
I mean, I'm normally big on quarterbacks to stay in. Like I said, Avery Johnson last week, which I would like to rescind my statement on that. I think now he should kind of transfer after that abysmal showing against Army. But it's a tough decision for Chiles. I mean, he's from, I believe, California, so he doesn't have that hometown tie. He's a transfer from Oregon State, so he's already transferred before. He's not going to have an easy decision. He's really grown at Michigan State, which is what you kind of want to see out of a quarterback. It's not like he's had a similar type of season as he had last year and this year. So he's shown that he can improve in the offense. It's just, can he lead the offense and lead the supporting cast to a playoff? And as of now, this moment, 8:29 p.m., September 16th, I'm not sure if Michigan State will give him that opportunity in the upcoming years. So I think it could make sense to transfer or declare if his hype does keep getting up enough. As you said, if Michigan State makes playoff, he's no shot he's going to transfer then. If they have a great season this year, go 9-3 or something like that, and are genuinely competing in the Big Ten, I do think it would be wise for him to say. But if they kind of struggle and sputter out in the Big Ten, it's going to make a lot of sense for him to transfer somewhere else where he'll get a better opportunity.
Yeah. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But if you are not familiar with quarterback Aidan Chiles, you want to watch the Michigan State USC game. This is a quarterback that's going to play on Sundays. We don't know if he's playing on Sundays in 2026 or if he's playing on Sundays in 2027. But Aidan Chiles projects as an NFL starter. Like Chris or Drew, do either of you have any hesitation to say Aidan Chiles is going to start an NFL game at some point in his life?
Right now, no.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the accuracy, if it doesn't improve a lot over the next season or two, then maybe. But as of right now, how much he's improved this year, I'd 100% expect him to be a starter.
Let's say this: a wild card.
That's an interesting shout out, Steve, right there in the comments. Chris, do you want to try to take that one?
Yeah, this is a wild card we haven't talked about. I know the last couple of weeks we've been mentioning like, are coaches good enough? Do they develop quarterbacks? And sometimes it's just the RPO. That's becoming the downfall of NFL quarterbacks, is that coaches don't teach. They just basically, all right, here's an RPO. This is what you're going to do. And by the time we get to the NFL, most quarterbacks are like, they don't know how to read defenses. Jonathan Smith and Brian Lindgren are, to me, a great head coach OC duo. Both of them played quarterback. Lindgren was a 3-year starter at University of Idaho. Jonathan Smith, this is a guy who played at Oregon State, as a quarterback. To me, I think Chiles stays because you look at Michigan State and they don't have a lot of draftable players this year, but it's a very young team. There's a lot of good pieces. And we've seen the proof is in the pudding. You look at Chiles from just a year ago, and he's no longer scatterbrained. He's no longer playing mistakes. I mean, we talk about the transfer portal and all these quarterbacks who are going places, but for every quarterback who transfers like a Will Howard that it works out for, you get a Nico, Ianavea he's now lucky if he'll even get drafted after like the 5th round. He's just playing so bad. So if Chiles returns, I see him staying because Michigan State is quietly becoming a force in the Big Ten because they got the coach, they got the OC, they're his money, and they're starting to put the stink away from the Mel Tucker era.
Okay, so we've done a good job with the dead horse on Makiai Lemon, on JaKobi Lane, and quarterback Aidan Chiles. Drew, who is your fourth highest ranked player playing in the Michigan State USC game?
There's two USC defenders that are close for me. But right now, I'm going to go with Anthony Lucas, the edge rusher. I just really like his athletic ability. He's super athletic. He's strong. He's got great hands while attacking the pocket, and he's constantly in the backfield. He disrupts plays. Even if he doesn't get the sack or the production, he will disrupt a play. That being said, he does lack some production in recent seasons. He's already got 2 this year, which is a really good sign. And if he can keep that up, he's going to hear his name called pretty high. You just want to see if he can be more consistent and finishing plays and doing all that.
So, Chris, where are you on Anthony Lucas right now?
He has all the traits. You want to see more. Like, and we were talking, in the chats about this. Like when I see the defensive end, I want to see like, all right, are you making plays, getting sacks? Are you being full to see eyes off you? And again, it's not his fault. He hasn't played a lot of great competition yet, so it's sort of hit or miss. But I don't know. It's just too early because to me, he hasn't stood out enough, and it's unfair for him. It's Purdue. It was more about the blitzing and about the secondary. I'll go with, to me, the player who intrigues me the most from USC after the 2 wide receivers is their all-purpose secondary piece, A'Marion Ramsey. To me, he is what you want in that safety cornerback, defensive back mold.
So, Drew, where are you on A'Marion Ramsey?
That was the other player I was debating with. I have them 2 very close. I really like A'Marion Ramsey too. He's versatile. He's a big hitter. He's pretty smooth. He may not have some of the top end elite athleticism, but this is a smart player who will be a huge impact player in the NFL.
Okay. So, A'Marion Ramsey, Anthony Lucas, JaKobi Lane, Makiai Lemon, Aidan Chiles, 5 players. Chris, who is your next highest draft quality player playing in this game? Or is there a drop after we hit those 5?
I'm going to go. There's one other. It's just because of his size, I put him below Ramsey. That's cornerback DJ Harvey. He is excellent. He is a guy who is that slot corner. He's played multiple, systems, so he understands, the route concepts, offensive tendencies. Excellent tackler. Football IQ is, you can see right there. He knows how to diagnose plays. He understands how to, read reads. His ball skills are. When he's around the ball, he can make plays and get interceptions. The one limitation is just the size, 5'11", 176 pounds. You're going like, and he doesn't have the elite speed. So but he's an NFL corner. We've seen guys like Christian Roland Wallace. We've seen guys like Noah Williams where they know how to play cornerback. They know how to, hang with the man. They know how to get to the ball. They know how to deflect it. They understand what they need to do. And to me, that's DJ Harvey.
Drew, where are you on DJ Harvey?
Before I say anything big on him or go all in, I just want to see how he is at USC. He's played 2 years at Virginia Tech, 2 years at San Jose State, and now is at USC. He didn't get a ton of opportunity at Virginia Tech besides special teams. While at San Jose State, he's coming off a season where he had 4 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, and a really good year. So I want to see kind of more film on him, how he translates to Big Ten play, faces Big Ten, big physical receivers. Like last year, he was practicing against Nick Nash, who was an exceptional receiver for San Jose State. But outside of that, you didn't really see him face any huge NFL draft talent receivers. So I kind of just want to see how he adjusts to that before I plant my flag on him.
Okay. And that was DJ Harvey? Did I get that? Did I get his first name right there, Chris?
Yes.
Got it. So that was a new name for the list. So I was making sure that I wrote that one down correctly. Cool. So any other draft eligible players in this game that you would like to, sing their praises, Drew, or say that you have your eye on them?
I'll have my eye on Michigan State tight end Jack Velling. He's very raw. He's 6'5", 245. He's a really good receiving threat. This year he hasn't done much. 7 receptions, 73 yards. But he's have over 1,000 career receiving yards. He's just not a great blocker. So if he's going to make the NFL, he's going to have to up his receiving game and definitely improve, get stronger, be a better blocker. But he's someone I'll at least be having my eye on as a pretty good threat for Aidan Chiles. I don't know if he's draftable right now at this moment, but I could see him improving to where he would be.
And we covered Velling on this channel last season. So we had a draftable grade on him last season. A good season this year will definitely improve a late day 3 grade to something that's earlier than late day 3. But Chris, do you want to shout out any player that you haven't had a chance to talk about yet?
Yeah, I mentioned this before. There's for USC, one of the guys who intrigues me, and he'll probably intrigue a lot of the scouts, is Eric Gentry. Right now, he's a big play impact guy. Speed. He's a physical freak. I mean, you look at him; he's 6'6", 215. So he's been starting inside linebacker, outside linebacker. They've moved him edge as a pure pass rusher. He has the traits. I mean, that's one of those guys where it's like, you go to the combine and he shows up and scouts are going to go, ooh, what can we do with this guy? You don't know what. Man, look at that. Look, 6'6", 215. Oh, my God. Imagine putting that guy in the middle. We put him at the edge. I mean, he started off in high school as defensive end linebacker, played some safety. He's a freak athlete. So you look at that and you go, he has the NFL, athletic ability. It's just sort of, it's weird. As I said, when you're 6'6", you think, okay, 245, 250, and he's 215. He'll probably go in those later rounds, around like 5 through 7, but somebody's going to take a look and go, man, we can use him somewhere. We don't know where yet, but we're going to find a way to put this guy in the field for something.
So, and I remember we covered Gentry last year, and it was something very similar. This is I would say, Gentry is an example of he's a really good college player. It's difficult to project a 6'6", 215-pound linebacker to the NFL, right? It's not the same conversation as Harold Perkins or Suntarine Perkins, but it's similar because NFL linebackers are usually they're built a little bit different, but I think Gentry at minimum would be a core special teams player at the NFL level. But Drew, what do you think?
I mean, intriguing is the perfect word that describes him. As you were saying, the traits are immaculate. He's got speed, athletic, size. It's just, where is he going to play? 215 at 6'6" is such an awkward kind of spot. I mean, you can't really be an edge unless you put on more weight. So linebacker, safety-ish. I don't know if he can play safety, but yeah, he's definitely interesting. It's just, where is he going to be?
Yeah. And Chris, I'm looking at some of the messages in the group chat. You also wanted to shout out a Michigan State wide receiver.
Yes, Amari Kelly. He is a big play wide receiver for Michigan State. He was a track star in high school and college, so he has the speed. I mean, he's been clocked at around 4.35, 4.38. He's a dynamic player. Sometimes it comes and goes. He's one of those wide receivers you look and go, there's going to be games where he pops like a BC game and you can't take your eyes off of him. And there were games last year where it's like, where the hell did he go? And again, we know how the NFL loves speed. So that's one of those guys right now I have like a fourth or fifth round grade. but he could sneak up because once he gets to the combine and he runs a 4.40, and all of a sudden, let's say he gets to like a 4.3 or 4.28, there's going to be teams like the Jerry Jones, like an Andy Reid, like even Sean McVay are going to go, ooh, damn, we need to have that guy. Look at that speed. Oh, we got to do a lot of fun things with him. I mean, he is a guy that as we've seen a lot now with, if you have speed in the NFL, teams are going to go, we will find a way to put you on the field. We don't know where yet, but if we have to have like 2 slots and maybe even a gadget guy, we will find a way to get you on the goddamn field.
Yeah, and I think last year's draft, I think Arian Smith, Dante Thornton, and I think there was one other wide receiver that I think nearly all of us were saying, that's a round 6-7 guy. And here they went, and they were like all gone by the end of round 4. To your point, Chris, the NFL wants that twitchy, athletic ability at wide receiver, and we'll see if it works, right? Like, I think of all these failed New England Patriot wide receivers, right? Tyquan Thornton, they brought in because he was fast. And then there was another player that Belichick brought in even before that. The NFL wants these fast receivers. And if they don't work out, they just throw them away and just bring in a new one a couple years later.
I want to ask you a question about that, Chris. So you brought up the Arian Smith and all that. And like, I was thinking of the Chimere DK. That's what came to mind as someone who could be more consistent, but just the straight up speed. How do you think Omari Kelly compares to them? Because I didn't get a ton of eyes on Kelly.
Similar. I'd say Arian Smith is more consistent, so that helps. I think what helps Kelly a bit is that he's 6 feet tall. He's 108 pounds. He's playing in the Big Ten. He also returns kicks. So it's one of those guys where it's like, all right, we can put him in a lot of different positions, but he needs to show that he can be consistent at every game, that he is productive and not just some of these games where it's like, where the hell did he go? Why is he not showing up on film?
Okay, and then, Chris, I think you also wanted to shout out a USC running back from the private chat, right?
Yes, Waylon Jordan is a guy who I'm impressed with. Now, I don't know. Again, it's going to be intriguing because they haven't played a lot of good competition. But in the game against Purdue, Jordan was one of those guys you're looking at, and on the negative side, he dances around too much in the backfield at times. So it's almost like he's looking for a read, but once he gets going, you notice him and he'll run through people. He is explosive. Once he gets up cutting, like a lot of running backs, you go, okay, just hit the hole. Don't go east west. Just go north and south. It's going to be interesting going forward what he does. The first 2 games were just blowouts, so he didn't get much. And the Purdue game, that was just they were supposed to start 3:30. It ended up being a 4-hour delay. So I'm chalking it up to a lot of players going, okay, we're just ugh. But look, it's Lincoln Riley, so he's going to throw a lot of passes where it's going to come out of a backfield. He's going to do a lot of at times toss reads and everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Jordan could be like a guy who can all of a sudden sneak into round three because he appears to have a speed. He hits the hole hard, and he's just a big physical running back.
And Drew, do you have anything on him?
I didn't get a ton of him, but I'm just looking at the stats right now. I mean, small, 5'9", 210, built kind of like a bowling ball. But his stats so far, I mean, yeah, the opponents haven't been great, or he's had the delay, but 39 attempts, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a fumble is not a bad start to the season.
Okay. Drew, any other player that you watched on either Michigan State or USC that you think has some draft possibilities that you want to mention? I know we've covered the big ones, but
yeah,
this is the Draft Professor Special. This is the first time this channel has covered USC this draft cycle. So I'm always open for, are there players that are showing up on tape this year that we didn't necessarily find during the summer?
Yeah, I want to defer that to Chris right now. I'm going to pull up my other notes. I took half of them on my computer, half of them on paper. So I need to pull them up. I want to see if you have any right now.
Yeah, Chris, anybody that you want to mention?
I'll say a guy not from Vistra, but keep an eye down the road is Jaden Maivia. He started off at UNLV. He's now transferred over to USC. I mean, he has the size. I mean, this is a guy who you look at and it's like, this is what my quarterback wants to look like. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. He has the big arm. He's mobile. Again, he's raw as hell. He's only 21 years old. He's played a combined 23 games, 17 of them he started. So it's still one of those works in progress. But the fact that Lane Kiffin is his head coach and offensive coordinator, and the fact that he has the tools, that's something you keep your eye on because not Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley. If Lincoln Riley and his air raid, if they get a hold of quarterbacks, we've seen before, he can turn guys into good quarterbacks. He's done that before in every stop he's gone to, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Maivia is a guy we talk about in 2027 or 2028 is a guy who's like, all right, hey, he's getting some buzz. He's getting some notice.
Okay, and then Drew, anybody else that you want to mention?
No, I don't think. I think we've covered most of them that I saw as draft potential for now.
Yeah, so to me, what stands out about the Michigan State USC game is that it's definitely a bigger test for Aidan Chiles from, let's say, any defense that he's played so far. And we really just want to see consistent play from Aidan Chiles. Right, and I would say one of the other things when we were talking about Chiles earlier that I was thinking about. So if we think to let's say the 2-year sample size we had in Cade Klubnik, right, where he had a very inconsistent season, and then at the end of last season, he stacked like 6 good games, and then many people had him really high. In some ways, we're talking about Chiles before the jump happened, right? Because we're saying he was inconsistent last year. We like what we saw, but he was inconsistent. We are seeing consistent play this year at a level that suggests that he could be drafted really high. We see an NFL starter in Aidan Chiles. And the question would be, if you go back to school, is your third year better than your second? Because if it's not, we're going to talk about Aidan Chiles next year like we're talking about Klubnik this year, which is you've regressed from your previous season, and that's not usually good for media. But Drew, I'm curious, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, first off on the Klubnik, yeah, he's digressed a little bit, but I want to see a different system. I don't like the system that their coordinators are running. I don't think Antonio Williams has been there also. So he's been hindered. They don't really have a rushing game. So I still think he's a great prospect. I just need to see a lot more from him. But then, yeah, that's kind of the big risk he takes if he returns to school, like off of what could be a big year this year from him. Does he think he'll have the weapons? Do they retain coordinators who have shown they can do well? It's just a lot of stuff that's going to be taken into account for him.
Chris, do you have any thoughts on like the projection of Klubnik from season 1, 2 to 3, and Chiles now is in the second season where it feels like we're seeing a jump?
Yeah, I look, in fairness, Clemson they've regressed in that you keep looking at them and wondering, okay, when is Dabo Swinney going to evolve? When is he going to hit a transfer portal? When is he going to be aggressive? And we talked about he despises the transfer portal like it's basically, asparagus to a chocoholic. Very looking, going, not doing that there. I was never, a fan of his in terms of developing quarterbacks. He either has a great quarterback, or as we've seen with DJ Ukulele, if he doesn't, he's not going to really develop that guy. Meanwhile, Michigan State, it's as I said before, it's Jonathan Smith, it's Brian Lindgren. They've been together now for 7 years. Both of them played quarterback. Both of them understand how to develop quarterback. And then you look at what Michigan State has, and like Nick, we haven't talked about Nick Marsh because he's only a sophomore. He's probably their best wide receiver. He'll be back. You look at a lot of their running backs like Chris Williams, Sean Foster. They'll be back. The offensive line is probably going to come back because a lot of them are sophomores or juniors. And look, I could see him if he doesn't think, hey, look, I'm not going to be a first-round draft pick. He could come back easily next year and just roll the dice. And with what Michigan State's doing, and with how the coaching staff is able to develop and get the best out of quarterbacks, I'm more confident that Chiles will have a better year next year than I was of Klubnik, just because we've seen Jonathan Smith and in Michigan State, they will go to transfer portal. They will hit that. Clemson wasn't ever going to. That's what hurts now in college football. If you do not use a transfer portal, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot.
I think that's fair. And I like how you're mixing the coaching into it too. It's not just about the quarterback staying. It's about stay and get good coaching. So I definitely want to give a shout out. So Maddie F. Baby, thank you for the subscription. I saw that come through on my other monitor while we were podcasting, so thank you. If you didn't know, Maddie, we are here every day. This podcast is at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern every day. Different people in the seats, but it's the same podcast. So, and we're nothing but the NFL draft. So, Drew, do you want to let everybody know who you are and all of the content that you make?
Yeah, my name's Drew Collings. I'm a sophomore at the University of Kansas. I write for New Orleans Saints sites online. That's Who Dat Dish. I also have a Saints podcast. That's the Dome Discussions.
Chris.
Yeah, you can check me out. It's thelastcallpodcast.com. I'm also on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter, Last Call WChrisC. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and you can check me out also on Wednesday nights at Innova Lab Podcast with Ernest Silva as we talk football, give our predictions, our picks. And yeah, this week we'll also be having bare knuckle boxing star Jessica Borg on the show. So yeah, with some big things planned next couple of weeks.
So you can follow by subscribing on YouTube, or on X, you can go to @NFL Draft Fanatic, no I in Fanatic. That is the Draft Professor Twitter page. We're here every day at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern. We podcast on nothing but the NFL draft. So in September, we're doing game previews just like this. We pick a game, and we're going to start breaking down who are the draft eligible players in the game. Where are they on the board? We have a reasonable feel for who are the top 100 players. And then we're trying to start to sort through, who are some of the guys that we think are going to be strong day 3 candidates as well. So starting in October, we will break down the draft class 8 players at a time per podcast. So I'm in the middle of taking a board of 650 players. We're knocking it down to about 400. There's going to be, 2 offensive line podcasts, 2 wide receiver podcasts, 2 defensive line podcasts, where each of those podcasts will take 8 players at that position group. The podcasters will fully grade them the way that they grade them. And then 10 weeks later, they have a positional board built for that position. There's a really good chance that this podcast at this time slot is offensive line. And there's a really good chance that Jerry Ostrowski, a retired NFL offensive lineman, will be coming on to do the offensive line scouting reports with a couple of other draft professors. We're still trying to confirm that with Jerry, but all the conversations so far have been thumbs up. We just need to see if everything can materialize to make that happen. So, for the 94 podcasters at the Draft Professor, for Chris, for Drew, for myself, for all of the people in the chat. So Maddie, good to see you. Steve, good to see you. Daniel at Home Squad Sports, good to see you as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on a podcast again tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.